Welcome back to the Flow with Chloe channel. My name is Chloe and I'm so glad that you are here, especially for an important topic like today. You know, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, and I was in high school, I was in middle school, and I took all these health classes, there was always like that one, just like 1 or 2 days, maybe it spanned into a week, where they talked about eating disorders. And I remember, I think this was ninth grade, in my ninth grade health class, we watched this documentary about eating disorders, and um, it portrayed the girls who were suffering from an ED in that film in this specific light, in this specific way. They were usually white, Caucasian women, and very, 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 very underweight. Wearing baggy clothes, had really pale skin. I don't know, it was just kind of portrayed in this almost even like, I don't know how to put this here, almost like an emo gothic way, where it's always just like big hoodies with the really sunken in face and the girls that were just unhappy. And that was my view, or that was like the idea that I had in my head of what eating disorders looked like. And so when I went through my whole journey of around like 13, 14 years old, developing an eating disorder, when I went on that whole journey of developing the ED, and then like, it was probably about a year into it, a year and a half into it, where like it started becoming known, where, my mom started calling it out and being like, I think she has an ED. I never really resonated with that. I didn't resonate with that term. I didn't view myself as that. And I think it's because I was given this image when I was younger of like what it supposedly did look like, and it just like didn't match up for me. So I was like, yeah, but one, I was like, I mean, it's winter right now, so I'm very pale right now for me, but like summertime, I am very, very, very tan. My mom is French. She has very Mediterranean skin, that dark, freckly kind of skin, and I kind of take after her with that. And so I was always like tan, had like this long, thick, like beachy hair, and I had like, I was still wearing like cute clothes and doing all these things, and like, it didn't match up for me. And I'm talking about this today because I think it's just becoming more and more apparent to me, as I grow up and as social media becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, that eating disorders no longer have the look that we once gave it. Let me say that again. Eating disorders no longer have the look that we once gave it. And I think that that's what's actually causing a lot of girls to not understand that they have an eating disorder, because in this day and age, an eating disorder could look like this. Someone who has 300,000 followers online is wearing very fancy, like elegant clothing all the time, has their makeup dialed down to a T, has their nails done, and has, whether it's a real tan or a fake tan, we see this. And I think a lot of these girls who portray themselves in this way don't ever think that they have an eating disorder because they look good, right? Because they're wearing the right clothes. They're getting fancy facials done, and they're getting their eyebrows waxed and tinted and their eyelashes extended, and they're doing all of these things to make the malnourishment kind of hard to see. drop down in the comment section below if you think I'm kind of right on this, of like, okay, that classic version of this is an eating disorder kind of got turned over its head, especially with the advent of social media, where now we're seeing that girl literally everywhere online, and everyone's like desiring to be her and desiring to create a life like her. And I don't think we realize, I mean, at least for me, I'm looking at it from my perspective, being someone who works in this field of eating disorder recovery. I'm looking at this and I'm going, a lot of the that girls are showing very, very, very disordered eating habits and routines, and are maintaining, what seems to be maybe too low of a body weight for fertility. And then we hear months down the road, right? Oh my gosh, I haven't had a period in years, and like all of these things. Like, I'm just seeing it more and more, and I want to call it out because, like, with all the girls that I've worked with nearly 600 women at this point, I think over at this point, actually, of that. All the people that I've worked with, I've never really had like a few, right? A handful of girls have done this, but I would say the majority of girls that I've worked with haven't really resonated with the term eating disorder, and they don't really label themselves as that and box themselves into it. It's like, oh yeah, I want to get my period back, or I'm just having digestive issues, or like I just yeah, whatever it is, they just come up with these other things besides like acknowledging the fact of like, no, I have an eating disorder. And I think it goes down to this a little bit of like, they don't think they have one because like they're put together as far as like their looks and even their life and their career and all of that. But no matter what size or shape, no matter what career, or no matter like how big your bank account is, or no matter how nice your clothes are, you can have an eating disorder. And I think what's happening too is that I think people don't really understand that there's like a varying degree of like what an eating disorder is. Kind of like, let's take stress, right? Like, there's varying degrees of stress. There's the like, oh crap, I just got a late IRS penalty because I missed my payments type of like fear, right? Like that like ignites a big stress. And then there's the like, oh shoot, that kind of sucks, I like broke my favorite mug this morning, and that could be stress. Or there's like, I got in a car accident, and that's stress. So there's varying degrees of stress, right? And stress is going to, no matter what degree, it's going to have some way, shape, or form of impacting your body, impacting your nervous system, which impacts your metabolic rate, which impacts your hormonal system, which impacts your digestive system. It impacts all these things, right? And so there's these varying levels of disordered eating and eating disorders, and it's kind of on this like spectrum. And I think a lot of girls who could really use help in healing their relationship to food, and really like getting their health back, and really just getting to a better place as far as their mental and physical health. I think they could really use a lot of the help and the support that, say, like an eating disorder, professional would provide. They don't know to reach to those people because they don't resonate with the term eating disorder, and they don't think they have one. Thinking again that it means that they have to be extraordinarily thin, pale, wearing baggy clothes and doing all of that. And so then they don't get care, and they brush off their disordered eating behaviors and habits. And unfortunately, we can only brush those off for so long until it starts just becoming a little bit too apparent in our life, usually in our relationships, or in just our physical health, maybe our fertility. It's just becoming very apparent that, hey, there is something that's going on. I think restriction, I think over exercising, I think trying to maintain a certain like body size and shape that's a little bit lower than like what fertility and health would ask us to be. I think that is something that's just like all too common in this day and age, and girls are running into these issues of like I said, like digestive issues, hormonal issues, all these things, not understanding this because that they're under eating. For example, I have a roommate here in my new place, and great girl, absolutely love her. She's super awesome. But I I noticed pretty much since day one that she was always kind of like just saying little things here and there about like her body and food. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a pig. I ate so much last night. Like, I shouldn't have done that. Or like, I was really freaking out because I was feeling so like fat this last week, but then I went to the doctors and like, they weighed me, and oh my gosh, once I saw the weight, and it was like, fine, I'm actually okay. I'm good. I can like feel calm. Like things like that. And then it was interesting because then a couple of weeks ago, she came to me and she was like, so I'm really nervous because I just got a bunch of like lab work done and it was showing that I'm hypothyroid. And I'm like, in my head being like, yeah, it's because you don't eat enough. Like, I mean, I could have guessed. Like, I could have guessed. She also has told me that her cycles are like quite irregular. So, unfortunately, she went to the gynecologist, and the gynecologist was like, we'll put you on birth control. And I'm sitting here being like, dang, see, you're the exact type of person that would actually do really well understanding the stuff that I know. And mind you, I have been obviously educating her and like helping her understand like, well, hypothyroidism is usually a slowdown of everything because the body's not getting the nutrition it needs and a consistent enough basis or just enough calories. Like I've been obviously talking to her about that. So I'm not just like leaving her in the dark here. But like I know so many women who are in that same kind of spot where they're like, oh, I have irregular cycles, or oh, that's weird, maybe my like period went away for a bit, or I'm hypothyroid, like what is going on here? And they start going to all these doctors and gynecologists and things like that who look at them and go, oh, you look healthy. Again, you don't look like the picture of what we think like eating disorders look like. And so they don't talk to them about like the things that are actually going to help them heal. I sometimes wonder if some doctors like even actually really understand. Like some gynecologists, I'm like, really, like birth control for amenorrhea again? We're still doing this thing? Like that's not gonna work. But yeah, they go to these doctors and gynecologists and stuff, and no one kind of raises a red flag as to like, hey, are you eating enough? Are you eating a wide enough variety? Have you cut your calories back too much? Are you over exercising? Like no one asks those questions. And I think they need to start being asked a little bit more. And I think something that just like I myself, as I build out my career more and more, I'm finding myself like stepping outside of the realm more and more of like classic eating disorders. Because, like I was saying, in reality, just so many people are having issues with food. Whether that be they're in the binge restrict cycle or they're in like energy debt or whatever it is, but like labeling like content and things like that as like eating disorder recovery, I feel like I want to start like literally kind of unlabeling my stuff as that because I'm like, listen, this is just like how to be a nourished woman and have balanced hormones 101 and have good body image. Because how many girls out there who don't again have a like classic or an officially labeled eating disorder have body image issues? So many, like so many. I think the stats are actually like upwards of 95% of women say that they have a lot of it was like a certain amount. They have like at least 3 bad body image thoughts about their body every single day, which is like insane. Don't quote me on that stat, but it's something very similar to that. I can't remember the exact stat, what it was showing, but something to the event of like 95% of women have bad body image, which is an unfortunate thing if you think about it. It's really unfortunate. But what was I saying here? But yeah, I feel like my content needs to shift. My content needs to change because there's not too many of you who are out there willing to admit that you actually have an ED or that your relationship to food is not supportive, is not healthy. And then it blocks, you improving it because if my car's not broken, why would I take it to the mechanic? Like that seems like a waste of time and energy and resources and money. Like I'm not going to do that. My car's fine. But maybe my car is running on like 0 oil, but on the outside, my car looks like a beautiful 2020 RAV4, like brand new, brand spanking new. It looks great. Inside the machinery could just be in a completely different state. So welcome to a new version of my content where I'm talking to women from around the world. who are just trying to be the best versions of themselves, who are trying to do this thing called, self-development and being healthy and having balanced hormones and just feeling their best. Like, that's who my content is for. And I think so many women are going to get a lot of benefit out of being here and listening to this type of content that, again, might have originally been designed for like eating disorder recovery. It might be really good for them to start hearing some of these things of like, this is probably why you're dealing with PCOS. This is probably why you're dealing with all these digestive issues. This is probably why your hair's starting to fall out, is because a lot of these things are like low-grade eating disorder symptoms, or I guess how we could put it, it's low-grade energy debt, right? Which is tomato, tomato, like very kind of similar thing here. I mean, different eating disorders do have a different kind of like criteria on things, right? So I'm not like saying like everyone who has a disordered relationship with food does have an eating disorder, but I'm just saying. So I'm excited for this new journey to be able to reach a lot more people by kind of broadening the subjects here, so that we can help everyone have a beautiful relationship with food and body, with exercise, be fertile, have good hormones, and feel just really strong and healthy. Super excited. If you are ready for this journey with me, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.